The Marvel Rivals closed alpha recently came to a close with an overwhelmingly positive response from the community and the players that got involved in the closed alpha test, especially for this being a very early build of the game. We saw a total of 19 characters, several game modes, in-game cosmetics, and even our first glimpses at a competitive mode. But what if I told you that this is not even the big picture for Marvel Rivals and NetEase Games? Let's dive into what I think this game is really going to be about for the Marvel Games community. Friendly reminder that if you watched or even played in the closed alpha, to make sure that you are being modest with your opinions, as this game is still very much in active development, as we haven't even gotten word of when the official release for this game is from the NetEase team. We haven't even gotten word about that, so remember, this is still very early in development. Unfortunately, I was not able to get into the closed alpha, but I watched hours and hours of gameplay, and I'm honestly excited to see what the dev team has in store next, especially the characters. This game is definitely new territory for Marvel, as most of their games have been more revolved around single player storytelling rather than a competitive online multiplayer. And let me explain why. Recently, Disney, which owns Marvel, invested a gigantic sum of money into Epic Games, the creators of Fortnite and owners of Rocket League and Fall Guys. What was claimed to be the start of Disney's venture into creating the so-called metaverse with virtual amusement parks is, I think, just scratching the surface. It's also worth noting that the recent Insomniac Games hack revealed that there was a planned multiplayer Spider-Man game that utilized the concept of the Spider-Verse to allow for gamers to create their own spider hero and team up with friends, being a modern multiplayer title. However, this has been confirmed by Insomniac Games that unfortunately this game, Spider-Man the Great Web, has been cancelled. And I think that adds up to Marvel Rivals. To keep the community focused on a single multiplayer title, I think Marvel decided to axe Spider-Man the Great Web and go more into Marvel Rivals due to its long-term viability. But that's not all. I think Marvel Rivals is going to be Disney's official entry into what some of you may already be thinking, esports. When the first trailer for Marvel Rivals was released, the immediate feedback was that it was described as an Overwatch style game with Marvel heroes and villains. Overwatch is regarded by many as a competitive esport and maybe even one of the more popular competitive titles in recent years. So this already paints Marvel Rivals in the light that it can be turned into an esport should the community and Marvel have the funding to support it. I mean, clearly they have the money given the gigantic investment they just made into Epic Games, but let's examine how this could play out. The number one issue with esports is its long-term ability to fund itself and be a profitable business, as leaders don't always make the brightest choices based on community opinions. I'm talking about you, Overwatch. However, with Marvel characters, this would instantly allow audiences unfamiliar with professional gaming to immediately recognize these characters and their abilities. If you showed someone gameplay of Reaper from Overwatch and asked them to identify the character, the average human might not be able to answer you, but that same person may be able to identify Spider-Man in Marvel Rivals. This illustrates the point that I'm trying to make with how people won't need to be intimidated by the abilities of these characters that they've never heard of before. As long as they have been introduced to some kind of Marvel media, whether that be the comics, movies, or the TV shows, they will understand the characters in Marvel Rivals. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Disney has the financial capacity to support a competitive title like Marvel Rivals, or the reason why I think they are pursuing this game and eager to see the future of it. They already know that they will have a global audience and player base, since most countries host screenings at their movie theaters for Marvel movies. Imagine them now getting to play with their friends as their favorite heroes in Marvel Rivals, building competitive teams and a meta where they can be the most successful. What I would really like to see if Marvel Rivals goes the esports route is to have it be self-funded. Per footage and gameplay from the closed alpha, it does appear that there will be some sort of battle pass system as well as purchasable cosmetics. With this game expected to have millions of players with a decent percentage of them wanting to buy these in-game items, NetEase Games could contribute something like 5% of total revenue generated from these in-game purchases to an esports or tournament prize pool, motivating more players to hone their skills and be competitive. Again, self-funding. Adding to this, the game is developing a competitive rank mode where players will be matched up with others around their same rank, with rewards being distributed for hitting a certain rank. This to me is the obvious sign that this is destined to be a gateway for Marvel into esports. Why else would you design a competitive game mode if you were not going to utilize it? It's not just going to be for bragging rights. I think there is something much more to this game that NetEase and Marvel are planning. Like I said earlier, Marvel and Disney can easily put some money into this to host a global tournament. Imagine a 6 to 8 month long season with 2 international events and a handful of region-based events. Now, with this path of esports is going to require a lot of attention to the characters in the game and how they are balanced with their damage and abilities. During the first reveal of alpha build gameplay, the developers did confirm that they will be closely monitoring feedback and gameplay from other players in the closed alpha to make any necessary changes to character kits to make them less overpowered or give them a little boost if they feel underappreciated. Those of you that were getting frustrated with those Scarlet Witch ultimates or Punishers and Star-Lords, just remember that this is a closed alpha and again, likely won't be this broken when the game officially launches. The creators of Marvel Rivals have also said that the 19 characters in the closed alpha is just the tip of the iceberg and that many more characters will be available when the game launches, with Venom and Adam Warlock confirmed for the closed beta test at the end of July. If you want to see who I think these characters need to be, check out this video here and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.